We went in to look at some of the key themes in postmodernism, and the first one we looked at was about truth.
Lauren Cleary is a 26-year-old hair salon assistant.
Lauren's husband's father.
It's available on YouTube.
As an employee of a hair salon,
Moment of
have
Truth.
you ever told a customer you liked their hairstyle?
But I think that is an interesting game show because it subscribes to a particular view of truth that the postmodernism would strongly disagree with. And Lyotard in his book is very suspicious against truth as something scientific, objective and neutral, and is instead trying to look more at the narrative side of this. This is also described really well in Martin Parker's article that is included on the reading list. Michel Foucault is also equally suspicious about truth, but he wants to point more to the way in which truth unfolds historically and how that is very strongly shaped by power. It's shaped by various institutions which at different historical times are very influential in determining what we take as a truth. So when he looks at madness, for example, people would define madness differently, and as a homosexual, Foucault also had a personal interest in looking at how homosexuals had been treated as mad in previous time periods. In fact, even still today in some places on Earth. But he wanted to look at the historical and aspects and how power is a very central part of that. And looking at who comes into the position of determining what we take to be truth. So that was the first key theme. The second key theme is to do with language, and this is a very important part. And the key figure here that we were looking at was Jacques Derrida. And again, language is not so much a tool that can represent a neutral reality, but rather language constructs our way of looking at reality. He's even saying that language is what constitutes reality. Again, some of these themes are explored quite neatly in Martin Parker's piece, and there are other relevant readings that you find on the reading list which would go into depth to describe this. And I introduce a clip here.
You're very well known in the States for deconstruction. Can you talk a little bit about the origin of that idea?
Avant d'essayer de répondre à cette question, je voudrais faire une remarque préliminaire sur le caractère totalement artificiel de cette situation. Je ne sais pas qui regardera ce que nous sommes en train de filmer ou d'enregistrer, mais je voudrais souligner, au lieu de les effacer, ces conditions techniques. Ne pas feindre la naturalité là où elle n'existe pas. J'ai déjà commencé à répondre à une question sur la déconstruction, parce qu'un des gestes de la déconstruction consiste en particulier à ne pas naturaliser, à ne pas faire comme si ce qui n'est pas naturel était naturel, comme si ce qui est conditionné par l'histoire, par la technique, par l'institution, par la société était une donnée naturelle.
Point to the deconstruction as a way of trying to understand the different vested interests in a situation. I gave the example of a job interview, for example, where you would have different expectations when you come into the room. The person interviewing you will have various expectations. There are various conventional rules surrounding this, and what Derrida wants to do is to show how all these rules together make up a situation, and how if you start looking at how all of these things work together, it becomes very artificial. And how artificiality is an important thing, because it also points us towards ways to make things different. The third theme relates to the subject, and I was showing this clip from a Woody Allen film called Annie Hall, which I like very much. It goes like this.
Here, you look like a very happy couple. Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah? So how do you account for it?
I'm very shallow and empty, and I have No ideas and nothing interesting to say.
And I'm exactly the same way.
I see. Wow.
So here we are looking at the view of the self in postmodernism. And all of these figures are very critical about the assumptions that you would find in someone like Maslow, the assumption that the self is something that comes with an innate nature, that a self is, that there is such a thing as a human nature. So Maslow, of course, would talk about the human nature is about trying to realize oneself. Of course, he talks about having to go through a number of steps in order to come to arrive at that point, but essentially human nature is about trying to realize itself. And Michel Foucault is very, very suspicious of this, because it says, you know, if you think that man is made out of an actual essence, that will have very nasty political consequences. And maybe we start to look at people in ways that will be very unhelpful. So he wants to stress the unfavors that essence would make to people. So I was drawing a little bit here on giving examples from how you could define a woman in a particular way, and how that would make it very difficult for liberation of women, for example, or for that matter, how you define a homosexual. Some people would claim that there's a particular homosexual nature to people. Maslow is of course someone who would represent the very different. I was then showing this clip from a very famous debate between Noam Chomsky and Foucault.
Oui, mais alors là, est-ce qu'il n'y a pas un danger? Si on dit qu'il existe une certaine nature humaine, que cette nature humaine n'a pas reçu dans la société actuelle les droits et les possibilités qui lui permettraient de se réaliser. C'est bien ce que